College Park, Maryland. We'll begin the meeting with a moment of silent meditation followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, this will be led by Councilmember Hill. Colleagues, do you want to add anything to the meditation? Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes, I'd like to remind everyone to keep everyone in your thoughts who fell victim to the unexpected windstorms that hit Mississippi last week. It came out of nowhere, but there was a tornado that really struck and took a lot of lives.
Thank you. Certainly will remember. Seeing none, please join me. Oh, sorry, Councilmember Hurricane.
Yes, earlier this week, County Council Member at Large and Chair Jolene Ivey sent out a message about her health, saying that she, the doctors are taking care of her, and she'll let people know more as she knows more, but just to keep her and her family in your thoughts and prayers.
Certainly, she's having some health challenges. Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Councilmember Hill.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We'll do the roll call, starting with District 1, City Council Member Hernandez.
Present.
Councilmember Hill.
Present.
Councilmember Dr. Esther.
Here.
Ms. Whitney.
Here.
And Pertem Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Mackey.
Present.
And Councilmember Wig.
Here.
We'll do the announcement in the same order, starting with Councilmember Hernandez.
I want to start off by thanking everyone, including the residents and city staff who helped put together a successful district discussion. We had the opportunity to talk over a number of different items, including some of the projects the county and the state are investing in District 1, and also forecast kind of what we want to prioritize as a district in the upcoming budget. I want to remind residents of the residential tree planting program and ask the city to promote the program as much as we can. There's a street tree planting, tree canopy enhancement program if you lost a tree due to some of the windstorms, and free residential tree planting interest. And finally, I want to invite anyone who's been around the community for quite some time. The University of Maryland has been working on a long-term project of creating community through College Park stories. If you or any super senior or College Park resident who could contribute to some of these stories, I invite you to please reach out to me, and I will connect you with the University of Maryland program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Hill.
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody who came out and helped with the colorectal cancer awareness campaign event we did last Saturday, and especially the Boy Scouts, Ellen Tapton, and the University of Maryland School of Public Health and Beyond Borders student group. It was, we had a successful event, and I look forward to it growing and being better annually. And I also like to thank staff for decorating the courtyard with blue lights to kind of help enhance and bring awareness to the event.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. Esther?
Yes, good evening, everyone. A few announcements. First, I'd like to thank all of the residents who came out to the District 2 virtual community meeting, and I'd like to give a special shout out to our city manager, Mr. Kenny Young, and our director of finance, Gary Fields, who came and participated and spoke to our residents about the budget process and things that we should be expecting. Also, want to mention It's that time of year. It's March Madness, and our Terps are playing the game, and the men will play Friday night, Friday afternoon. Grand Canyon is who they're going against in Seattle, and the women will play Norfolk State on Saturday in College Park. So want to send some good vibes their way. And lastly, there is a Hyundai and Kia wheel lot giveaway for models from 2011 to 2021 with Key Start on Friday, March 21st in Fort Washington at the Old Fort Village Shopping Center. It starts at 6:30 and it goes while supplies last. So for anyone who has those model cars, I encourage them to go out to Fort Washington.
Thank you. Councilmember Whitney?
Thank you. There is a BDCA meeting this Thursday, March 20th at Vital Traditions at 4912 Berwyn Road at 7:30 p.m. The Berwyn Permaculture Garden Cleanup, which is co-sponsored by the BDCA and the Committee for a Better Environment, is this Saturday, March 22nd from 9 a.m. to noon. At the Permaculture Garden along the trolley trail between Greenbelt Road and Tecumseh Street. We are excited about the many new businesses and amenities coming to District 2, the new and improved Duval Field, which we all had a chance to celebrate together on Friday morning, and also the opening of Prime Time, which is coming to the Cambria Hotel. So very exciting times. Looking forward to having a new restaurant to walk to from my house. So excited. Also want to thank the residents who came to the District 2 community meeting, and of course the city manager and Gary Fields, our director of finance. Thank you so much. Great opportunity to answer resident questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, before I give it to Mayor Pro Tem, I too want to thank our staff for putting together the groundbreaking event on Friday. It was wonderful, and after some people say it's been 2 decades that the community has been asking for this day to come, but I think it will be wonderful field with so many different amenities in it. One announcement I'd like to make this Saturday, 10:30 at this room, City Hall, Council Chamber, there will be a town hall, and the county council members representing College Park, Councilman Darnoga and Ed Golson, both of them will be here, along with some of us from the council to answer any questions about the city and the services provided by the city and the county. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to come. There will be some refreshments outside probably, and this will be virtual and hybrid meeting rather, in person and virtual as well. Please check the website to all the details. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to thank my District 2 colleagues for extending an invitation to attend the groundbreaking on Duval Field on Friday. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate being part of attendance for something that, since I've been on the dais, we've been working very hard to come to fruition. So it was really glad. I'm glad to see that. Also want to thank all the residents and to our city staff, our Public Works Director, Director Marsili, Assistant Director, Mr. Frank Pacifico, for the opening of the College Park Woods Clubhouse. It was, yes, it was an amazing event. Residents are just so ecstatic about the amenity. It really brings a different lift to the community, and we look forward to other members and residents in the city to actually hold events there. Just be careful as you come up Marble Way, that you drive at the correct speed. We don't want speeding, but no, just joking all the time. But again, it is really a great event, and in fact, I will say to Director Marsili and the project manager, Mr. Pacifico, you received many kudos at the National League of Cities Conference last week about the structure. So great job to all of you. Last, I want to say thank you to our city manager and our Director of Finance, and to my colleague, Councilman Mackey. We also had a District 4 virtual meeting about the budget. I think it was very beneficial for our residents to hear about the process that we go through when we receive the budget and the decisions that we make. So again, thank you so very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I really appreciate so many district discussions happening. I think all of the districts had a meeting in the past 2 weeks. So wonderful. Councilwoman Mackey.
Yes. So in the new College Park Woods Clubhouse this Friday at 4 o'clock, the seniors in our, all of College Park are having a movie night. It's called something of the Oscars. So it should be lots of fun at 4 o'clock on Friday and in the new clubhouse. And there's plenty of parking and it's a beautiful facility. And I hope that a lot of people from the city come out to that. I just want to encourage people that if you want city compost, you should order it soon because it's getting ordered up. So make sure that you put your order in, and there'll be lots of spring cleanup days that I'm sure the city manager is going to share with us, but it's on the city website. And lastly, I'd like to say that this Thursday is Down Syndrome Awareness Day, and so I just wanted to encourage you, if you know a person with Down syndrome or a family that has a child with Down syndrome, to show them extra love this week. So thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rigg.
Pass.
All right, let's go to our student liaison. I think Ms. Art is probably online. No,
Yes,
she has joined online. She has joined online.
Hi.
Please go ahead.
First, I hope all students are having a great spring break. Also, as students are coming back from break, the SGA Health Center and the Memorial Chapel are teaming up to provide students with a chance to meditate with a free lunch on March 24th at 12 p.m. Outside the chapel. And I want to congratulate the winner of the District 3 election.
Thank you. The winner is looking around. Let's go to Ms. McDonald.
Thank you. Also want to echo, students are on spring break. Just to the students, it's very important, like with everything happening, just to be safe, protect each other, especially when traveling in groups, look out for each other. The weather is good again, so it's definitely nice to go out, take a walk, and do anything of the sort that, like, you know, keep your mind at ease. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. All right, let's go to our city manager's report. Mr. Young.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, residents of College Park. A couple announcements tonight, particularly for the Calvert Hills neighborhood. Tomorrow, there will be impact to the traffic patterns and some noise in the neighborhood. So WSSC contractor is repairing a patch from a recent water main break on Rhode Island Avenue on the west side, just north of Guilford Road. And then we also have Pepco will be working on the trolley trail on utility poles between Guilford Road and Amherst Road starting tomorrow. And trail traffic may be detoured to Rhode Island Avenue along the construction, where the construction work is taking place. And some of that work will continue all the way through April at this location. I'm very excited as well for the Oscars tribute at College Park Woods Clubhouse. It'll be our first event starting at 4 p.m. It is a movie event, an afternoon movie event, and they'll have trivia games followed by the movie Thelma. Obviously, we'll also have some popcorn there to take care of that particular need. Also, just a couple of reminders coming up. Spring cleanup Saturdays are coming up, so start gathering your gear to throw away. April 5th, April 12th, April 26th, and May 17th are those cleanup days, and where you our shredding will be on Saturday, April the 5th. So for those things that you want to shred, we'll have that on that first Saturday. we'll have a flyer that will come out and be distributed to residents throughout the community. Also, just a reminder, also we have coming up is NOMO April coming up. So if any residents want signs, you can contact us through the website and we'll get yard signs out to those residents that want it. And just for your information, in the information packet, I want to draw your attention to at least 2 items in the packet today. In the information area, we have the student housing survey results, and so residents can take a look at the packet for that information that's contained in there. And also on our consent agenda, something I'm very proud of our Public Works Department and our Finance Department for our municipal grass mowing contract that's going to be considered tonight. It is something that we've been working with our committees, as you all know, and as a council, as a strategic initiative to have battery-powered mowers and blowers operate within our community. And so it's a big step. I don't believe any other municipality in the area is doing that. So, there's nothing wrong with being the leader.
Great job, staff, and in particular, Public Works Director, Mr. Marcelli. Thank you. Any question for Mr. Young? Mayor Protem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Young, I apologize for asking at the nth hour, but it was a couple of seniors asked this of me. With the upcoming shredding event on April 5th, is there any way, because some of them are not able to get someone to come to the location, would it be a way someone can pick it up for them, their shredding?
Just need to contact our Public Works Department, and we'll work with them. We usually have crews throughout the city almost every day.
Fantastic.
So we'll be
Thank
able
you.
to figure it out.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Marcelli can make anything happen. All right. Any other question for Mr. Young? Seeing none, let's do acknowledgement. We have one former elected official, and he is the former District 2 City Councilman, Bob Catlin. Thank you, Mr. Catlin, for attending. Now our next order of business is the amendment and approval of the agenda. Is there an amendment? Mr. Rigg.
Yeah, I would note in our red folder that there's a proposal from staff that we remove the PEPCO presentation from the presentations portion. It sounds like PEPCO's not able to be here tonight to make the presentation.
Do I need a vote on this? Probably. Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So that would be, 24G. No, the presentation 11C, right? Okay, so that's good. Any other amendment?
No, Mr. Mayor, with that being said, I'd like to move the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So the agenda has been approved. Now is the time to talk about public comments of any items, the consent agenda or non-agenda item. Mr. Catlin, please state your name for the record, and if you are a resident of College Park.
Thank you, Mayor Kabir. I'm Bob Catlin, co-president of the Berwyn District Civic Association. I thank Ms. Whitney for giving information about our coming meeting Thursday at Vital Traditions. Given my past in the city council, when I come into a meeting, I give you a brief snippets of history about things that happened quarter century ago, typically. Today, I will talk about briefly the 5 events that led to College Park's development in the 21st century. I just have time to talk about the first 3 of those tonight. The first, of course, is obvious. It's the city's purchase of the trolley trail. That happened in 1996. From the time the trolley trail was created in the 1890s, it was always privately owned. But in 96, the city was able to buy the land. It took a while to develop it. Park and Planning said they would put in the 2 bridges that was necessary for the trail to operate. But there are some issues about getting that built and the cost of it, and so that didn't happen until 2002. So 2002 is really the date that the trolley trail was really functional. The second event also dates back to 96. That's when the city council asked the county to rezone the Route 1 corridor to allow housing. And because we don't control the zoning, Park and Planning couldn't get around to starting that process till 1999, but they did it, and in 2002, they came up with an MUI zone that would allow housing on the Route 1 corridor. It was called the MUI Mixed Use Infill, although at the time it was announced, a lot of people thought it should be called Maryland University Infill.
Like that.
And that turned out to be quite correct. And the third major event really was the Washington Post building. It's a printing plant and distribution center on a 20-acre parcel of land on Greenbelt Road in the adjacent to the neighborhood of Berwyn. The Post talked to the city in '96 about putting a printing plant there. The city was very much in favor of that plan. It was a very complicated and lengthy process, though, so the plant didn't begin operating until like the summer of 2001. But when the Post came to the city's budget was less than $8 million. And we determined the Post would probably add over $500,000 to our tax of our revenue. So we were very eager to see it. Unfortunately, because in '96 back in the 80s and 90s, the city was always raising the taxes because we had a terrible tax base and inflation always exceeded our revenue growth. So when the Post said they were going to come, we were able to postpone a lot of purchases. So the first couple of years the Post gave us money, we were just catching up with things that we hadn't spent money on. But then in 2004, the city received notices of a 30% increase in our residential property values. This was greatly in excess of what we had ever seen before. So that was important. And the rezoning of Route 1 to allow student housing or housing of any kind, we knew that would definitely increase our tax base. So the city made some important things to do. They decided in 2004 to cut the homestead tax from 10% to 1%. So basically freezing the assessments on people's properties. For the first time ever, we hired contract police. We never had contract police. Police was a huge issue in the city. The police had become more and more distant from us, and our residents were complaining more and more about very, very slow response times for police. Also, we needed to build a parking garage. With the construction of Terrapin Station, the development south of Bentley's, the shopping center owner and a lot of businesses downtown were very upset about the need for more parking. So the revenue from the Washington Post allowed us to have contract police. It allowed us to put in rent stabilization. It gave us the $2 million plus that we needed as preliminary money to buy the properties and to do preliminary work on the parking garage.
Mr. Catlin, that's the time you have.
Oh, okay.
Please wrap up if you can.
Okay, well,
in 2 seconds.
I think that covers it. So those are the first three events. There'll be two more events that happen like a decade after 2000 that I'll talk about next time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Please keep them coming. I appreciate all the history bits. You learn a lot every night, every council meeting. Thank you so much. All right, any other person in the audience? I don't see it. No one is online. Seeing none, let's go and move the consent agenda. Let me read them out. We have 5 consent agenda items, and the first one is 25G31, which is about awarding a 3-year contract with 2-year additional option years for municipal grass mowing contract IFB number CP-25-02 with Lawrence Inc. for right-of-way grass mowing and battery-powered landscape equipment. The second one is 25G32, award of renewal of contracts for employees' health and dental insurance coverage, workers' compensation, and city's general liability insurance for FY 2026 for a total budgeted cost of $2,209,907. Sorry, $2,209,907 $17. And third one is 25R05, resolution to establish a council compensation review committee prior to the 2025 general election. And fourth one is 25G33, approval of KCI extra work authorization number 10 for the design and project management supporting infrastructure for Wi-Fi service and CCTV at Duval Field Park. And final and fifth one is 25G34, which is ratification of the FY25 program open space annual program application submitted to the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, DNR, requesting $1,500,000 in funding assistance for the Duval Field renovation Phase 2 project. I entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So the consent agenda has been approved. We have 4 presentations tonight, and the first one is about the certification of the results of the District 3 special election, and I believe this will be given by our Board of Election Supervisors. Susan Humrich, please take a seat and welcome. Thank you, everything you have done. It's a lot of work. Appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure to serve.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
So good evening. As I was saying, it is a pleasure of the Board of Elections Supervisors to certify the results of the March 11, 2025 special election for the District 3 councilperson. The total number of votes cast was 512. The total votes for Mr. Meadows was 99. The total votes for Mr. Ranker, 344. The total votes for Mr. Sprinkle was 69. This represents a 12.16% participation rate for the District 3 voters. Upon receipt of the final campaign finance reports, which are due Monday, as well as notification of acceptance to all provisional voters, as well as compilation of the reports to the county, the business of this election will be complete. We express our thanks to the District 3 voters and the candidates, and extend congratulations to the winner, Mr. Ranker. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any question or comment? No. Thank you. Thank you again for everything you've done. I know it wasn't scheduled, but
That's why
you have stepped
we're here.
in.
That's why we're here, and we look forward to serving you in November.
Absolutely, which is not very far away.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. All right, our next presentation is from, actually, Mr. Ethan Sweep will be making presentation, and he is from Congressman Glenn Ivey's office, and he's speaking about, given an update on President Trump's administration executive orders. Welcome, Mr. Sweep.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. It's lovely to see you all again. For those who may be watching at home that may not...
Please come close to the mic.
Come closer. Oh,
You're
there we
tall.
go. Now I hear it. Okay. It's a side effect of being tall, I guess. But yes. So for those who are watching at home that might not know me, my name is Ethan Sweep. I'm a Community Liaison and Grants Manager with the Office of Congressman Glenn Ivey. The Congressman apologizes he couldn't be here tonight. We are actually having a town hall, I believe, as we speak. So all of our staff and the Congressman are at that event. But we wanted to make sure that we got around to all of you and provided just a brief update from our office about everything that's been going on, as well as some more general things that are happening in our office. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. It is a little long. I ask for your patience. I'm so sorry. But yes, so to say that these are unprecedented times would be an understatement. Like many of you, Congressman Ivey is deeply concerned by the rash of unchecked executive actions by President Trump and his unelected billionaire bureaucrat buddy, Elon Musk. Their extreme actions have gutted diversity programs, threatened thousands of federal jobs, stopped critical aid that helps keep our country safe, and frozen federal dollars for critical and life-saving programs, all in a matter of weeks. The arbitrary decisions of the Trump administration have no clear goals, do not bring down costs for the American people, and threaten to invade other nations, including our allies. This does not keep people safe, and the firing of civil servants does not make our government run more efficiently. The American people elected a government to help make their lives better. As such, Congressman Ivey supports efforts to make the government more efficient, lower the cost of food and medicine, implement sensible immigration reform, and keep the public safe from threats at home and abroad, and his House Democratic colleagues are supporting many similar efforts. Instead of addressing the real and complicated issues of hardworking Americans, Trump and his unelected sidekick Elon Musk are focused on the needs of billionaires and lining their own pockets. So how do we fight back? By leaning on the two additional co-equal branches of our federal government. Congressman Ivey supports efforts by unions representing federal employees to push back in the courts against illegal, arbitrary, and discriminatory firings. Many federal employees have civil service protections or collectively bargain for rights that protect them from removal based on political retaliation. Our courts must step in to ensure that these rights are not trampled upon. Additionally, Congress must stand up to tyranny. While Congressman Ivey's Republican colleagues appear to have developed amnesia on the role of Congress, he would like to remind them that the founders made Congress the Article I branch of our federal government for a reason. Congress makes laws and Congress appropriates federal dollars. Congress is an equal partner with the White House in governing our nation, not a junior partner. Many of the actions taken by Trump are illegal and unconstitutional, and we must not be afraid to exert our powers to protect working people and their families from a president acting outside of his authority. Please know that you have a fighter in Congressman Ivey as we press forward through difficult times. He will not stand idly by as Trump and Musk, whichever of them is really in charge, destroy our federal government and the work of generations of Americans to make our nation a more perfect union. If you or someone you know has been affected by the policies put into place by the Trump administration, please have them visit our website, ivy.house.gov, to find resources for federal workers, for immigrant families, and the LGBTQIA+ community. This resource page is located under Services, where you'll find resources for Maryland's affected by Trump administration policies. If you are unable to find the information you need, please call our office and one of our staff members would be more than happy to assist you. Additionally, Congressman Ivey would like to remind you all again about our office's congressional nominations to the military service academies. Members of Congress may nominate candidates for appointment to 4 of the 5 U.S. service academies: the Military Academy, the Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, and the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. The 5th Service Academy, the U.S. Coast Guard, does not require a congressional nomination for appointment. Congressman Ivey may nominate between 10 to 15 individuals for each vacant academy slot allotted to our district. But we want people to understand that receiving a congressional nomination does not guarantee admission into an academy. However, it is a requirement to be considered for appointment as part of each service academy's admission process, with the exception of the United States Coast Guard Academy. For more information on military service academy nominations, you can visit our website. Under Services, you will find a tab for Military Service Academy nominations. Next, each spring, the U.S. House of Representatives sponsors a nationwide high school art contest. The Artistic Discovery Competition is an opportunity to encourage artistic talent across the country, including right here in Maryland's 4th Congressional District. The Artistic Discovery Competition is open to all high school students, and winners from each district will have their work displayed in the U.S. Capitol building for 1 year, as well as featured on the House of Representatives website. The contest rules, release form, and previous winning entries are available on the Congressional Art Competition page, www.congressionalinstitute.org, and click on the Congressional Art Competition header. Students who are interested in submitting their entries can also do so on our website under Services and then click on Art Competition. You must include both the student information form and the completed release form with your entry, and the deadline to apply is April 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Next, our office is very excited to announce that we are currently accepting applications for our summer internship program in Congressman Ivey's district office. This is a great opportunity for students and recent graduates to gain valuable hands-on experience in public service, community outreach, casework assistance, and special projects alongside our team. Ideal candidates are enthusiastic, detail-oriented, and have an interest in public service, and also live in Maryland's 4th Congressional District. The internship will run from June to August, and selected interns will be working out of our district office in Landover. All applicants must be above the age of 18 and have a high school diploma. So if you or someone you know is interested, please visit our website and go to Services and click on Internships. On that page, you will find the application to fill out. Finally, I would like to talk to you all once again about the Community Project Funding Grant Program. So for those who may not be aware, this is a grant program where members of Congress can submit projects to the House Appropriations Committee for eligible 501c3 nonprofits and local governments in Maryland's 4th Congressional District. The program was started in the last couple years and has been a great way for us to provide funding for projects that help the residents of our district. Our office has started accepting applications for CPFs for fiscal year 2026 while we wait on guidance from the House Appropriations Committee. If you are looking for guidance or direction on this program, as in years past, our best guess is that the process will likely be similar to what it was last year in FY25, and guidelines and guidance for that can be found on the Appropriations Committee website, appropriations.house.gov. Applications for our appropriations request can be found on our website, ivy.house.gov, under Services and then Appropriations Requests. Please make sure that your applications are completely filled out when you submit them, and feel free to reach out to our office with any questions. The deadline to apply is March 31st, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions about community project funding, please call our district office and talk to either myself or Beth. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions. For programmatic and language requests, they should contact the DC office since that's more of their specialty. If you are one of the 15 projects that was selected for the FY25 CPF program, which I believe there were a couple in College Park, this is out of date. So unfortunately, we do not have an update as to whether or not these projects will be included in any sort of final FY25 funding package. We are, at this moment in time, recommending that if you were selected last year, that you apply again in fiscal year 2026, just to have everything covered. And that opens up a whole new can of worms where we obviously can't guarantee that you'll be selected again. The projects will be judged based on the applicants that we receive. But I am more than happy to talk details with you about that if you want to contact me later, or we can ask them here. But that is all that I have. Thank you, everyone, and I see we have some questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Congressman Ivey, for standing by our community members and residents who have been impacted by recent events, especially the federal workers who have been struggling after they lost their jobs. Many of them, there are hundreds and hundreds of them in College Park and the surrounding communities. So thank you, your leadership.
Yeah.
I see some questions, Mr. Mackey. Oh, quite a few, actually. I don't know who actually read first. Councilmember Mackey, go ahead.
I wasn't sure if I was first, but I'll be really, really quick. So can you email that presentation to us?
What I just read?
What you just read?
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was trying to take notes and I just couldn't get it all
Yeah.
down.
No, of
Thank
course
you
I
very
can
much.
get that to you.
Okay, Ms. Mitchell, you are the next.
I'll yield to my district colleague.
Okay, Dr. Estes probably, and then Ms. Whitney.
I was just going to ask, we're were you one of those 15 projects that was approved for FY '25, would it be acceptable to simply duplicate that application just with a change of dates and resubmit it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the main thing is that we will need updated letters of support.
Okay.
So if that's just checking in with your organization and updating the date, then I'll leave that to you. But yeah, we can accept basically the same application.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Estes?
Ms. Whitney asked my question.
Oh, thank you. It's covered. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Thank you. My question is totally different. Regarding the Academy nominations, is the United States Public Health Corps part of that process because they're under the Coast Guard? And if you can't answer, you can get back to me.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that, I'm afraid. You said the U.S. Public Health Corps?
United States Public Health Service Corps.
Okay. Do we have an answer?
Mr. Rake.
All right. In my day job, I work for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So I do happen to know that there is no service academy associated with the United States Public Health Service Corps. There is a medical college that
Yes,
services, it's run by the Public Health Service, but it services physician and other healthcare practitioners across all of the services.
Okay. Thank you to my colleague.
Thank you. I have a question about the appropriation grant money, and thank you, Mr. Ivy's office. You've been supporting our communities for many years. Do you think the recent executive orders will have an impact in the future of grant money?
The executive orders have already had a great impact on grant funding. As the grants manager in the office, it's kind of my job to stay on top of it, and I can tell you that the federal grants have basically slowed to a trickle. I think in the last week or so, there have been maybe 8 or 9 that have come out in a week. During the previous administration, they were coming out, 40, 50 a week, sometimes even a day. So they have all but stopped.
That is concerning. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, do you have a question? I see your lights are on, Mike.
Oh, I apologize. No, I had it on because for anyone who is interested in doing any sort of medical profession out of the service academies, you can. There are some transfer programs, but there is, just to echo my colleague's statement, there is no public health service academy. But in my experience at the Air Force Academy, there are a lot of folks who found the opportunity to go continue a career in medicine through their service academy, through one of the service academies.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. That's all we have, looks like. Thank you again for coming, and please keep coming. We'd like to hear from you, and thank you for supportive of College Park
Yeah,
community.
absolutely. I guess if you're having an election in November, we'll be back then. So
Looking forward to. Thank you. All right. So we are done with 2 of them, and we have 2 more. And the third one actually now is a presentation about annual economic development report, and this will be given by our economic development manager, Mr. Williams, Michael Williams.
Yeah,
Mr. Williams,
get it
welcome.
shown up here. So, let's see. Thank you. Try to get fast. Go fast. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm here to present our annual Economic Development Report for the City of College Park, and have a lot of good news for us, but some concerns. As stated in my staff report, in the past calendar year, the city's residential homeowners witnessed strong residential sales throughout all of our subdivisions. Our commercial transactions settled at a brisk pace as well, and where residential sales averaged about $480,000, our commercial sales weighed in at an average of $870,000 per transaction. We had a surge of visitors and foot traffic in our city. Our analytics tracked nearly 3 million people within our boundaries year over year, February 2024 to February 2025. The city of College Park is home to a highly ranked hospitality company which owns and operates the hotel in Cambria. These venues led our hospitality industries in hosting professional and college sports teams and organizations from around the country. Further, the 4 Diamond and Stellar Awards winning The Hotel notched the 7th best ranking from U.S. News and World Reports for hotels in the state of Maryland. No doubt that the Big Ten athletic events had a heavy influence in the surge of traffic and visitors. The restaurant scene here in College Park is vibrant and it's diverse. And at a time when residents in the region are ceasing operations, we welcome several new eateries and dining options. Notable names are Primetime Restaurant at the Cambria Hotel, Honey Pig Barbecue, which I think some of you are familiar with, Shake Shack, and Terrapin Station. Credit is due to your leadership and ability to collaborate and create a model municipality in Prince George's County. Challenges remain in the housing segment, with the demand for quality senior housing and affordable market rate apartments continue to be elusive. However, the flats development of 315 units financed by state tax credits in District 1 are coming to market this spring, and applications are currently being accepted at the flats for 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. Traffic caused by Purple Line and State Highway construction continues to cause delays and impact daily commerce on and around Baltimore Avenue. And of course, finally, as we heard previously, the federal layoffs will have an impact on our community as we expect some level of loss of jobs by with having more than 1,100 College Park residents who are employed, full-time employees of the federal government. So just wanted to mention that we had taken account with the Department of Commerce. The latest stat was that we had about 1,116 residents who served full-time jobs in the federal government. Of course, you give or take a few. I want to just go into the slide, talk about a little bit of it, and get through it and field any questions that you may have. First up there on the screen and in your staff reports is the just the chart of our visitorship year over year.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you make it to full screen, please? It might be easier
Sorry.
for us.
Did it get there?
No, the presentation mode.
Yeah, presentation mode. Presentation, boop.
Not there.
Did it get there?
Let me see if I can turn.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I thought it was big anyways. Got to come out.
Oh,
Right.
thank you. Wonderful. I wasn't working. And now go. From beginning. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, sorry about that. And now we can all see. So for the visitorships, the first slide is the page where we just kind of go year over year and give you a view of the visitors. And when we say visitors, not everyone's from out of town. They're from around the Beltway. We have a huge UMD cohort that lives all around the Beltway and in the region, so we're happy to have them. But now we have the infrastructure of retail, of hospitality to actually keep our visitors here for a while, visiting over periods of time instead of maybe 20, 45 minutes, and then you're back on the Beltway. So it just kind of shows you and gives you some kind of level of enrichment of folks coming in and staying and visiting our city, as well as the money that they spend. Retail sales for 2007-40 for the calendar year of 2024 exceeded about $360 million in the city. Fortunately, we don't get much of that, but just gives you an idea of the breadth of money that's being spent here in the city. Again, these are some selected locations that we take and monitor. Duval Field, the CQ football stadium, the Xfinity Center. Also up north, you'll see a designation for the Marketplace Shopping Center, which is doing extremely well with the Shoppers Food. There are a few gaming stores up there, as well as we all know, the Starbucks that's up there. So we get a lot of daily vehicular traffic in that area, and just proud to say how strong it is. Again, the Census Bureau tracked and said that we have some full-time employees here in College Park. Throughout the county, there's more than 65,000, and then in the entire state, there's more than 300,000 full-time federal employees, I should say that. And I think when you think about contractors and independent contractors, that number probably serves at a multiple, even here in College Park. A big announcement, this State of Maryland Tourism Conference. I think we've announced it before, but it'll be here this fall at the Cambria Hotel and at the hotel. Happy to have them, and happy really to continue to promote all the assets of the city of College Park, and we'll be doing that really holding hands with the Prince George's County folks at Experience Prince George's as well. The biannual Taste of College Park new. We're going to try it. It's an effort between my office and the event staff and the communication staff, and we hope to launch the first one slated for July. We think, or we're shooting for at least 20 restaurants and businesses to participate. We'll do our best to do some arm twisting, but hopefully we'll have that there, the place and the stage for it to be announced. Some of the accomplishments that we did this past, so you've heard of it, you knew about the PNC Bank Foundation and the $75,000 grant that we were able to award to many of the businesses that are affected by the Purple Line. Of note is the area where the Domain is on Campus Drive, the Domain student apartment complex. Well, in the bottom of that complex, there's some retail space there. And because of the Purple Line construction and road closures, those businesses, which are now part of District 4, have suffered mightily. We were able to kind of focus in on them and get a few of those applicants from District 4 Domain some help. Recently, and you'll see some pictures at the back, we were able to do a joint meeting right here in City Hall last week with the Washington Area Investment Fund and the Latino Economic Development Center. They're doing some really incredible stuff. The Latino Economic Development Center actually does many classroom sessions with citizens interested in forming their own businesses, and they're really doing it. It's in a classroom setting, so they're really learning a lot about not just how to run a business, but just kind of how to, sharpen your skills on everyday living. And so now we have a partnership with them, and actually tonight I could be, and I haven't talked to him recently, but he promised one of the gentlemen from the Latino Development Center, Antonio Fajardo, was a big player here last week in helping us kick off another Purple Line funding segment. You know about the DOT and the Purple Line small grants that we've done. There's a new round coming up, and there was a deadline last week, so we think a lot of funds will be released, we hope, by June. Just don't know yet. That'll be a call from the state, but applications were due on March 14th. Again, the DHCD, where you see at top, Department of Housing and Community Development, we were awarded a total of $300,000 to help us achieve some help in filling up vacancies in commercial corridors. We earmarked, there are 3 spaces at the Hollywood Shopping Center and 2 spaces downtown, one of them here in City Hall, and the other is across the street at the old Milk Boy site that so many people were happy and sad to see it turn. But so we These are just a list of accomplishments we're getting as we talk about grants to our businesses. We're trying to wean folks off and let them know the federal funding and the ARPA funds are no longer there. And so we're trying to find other resources. And so far, it would give us a good grade in terms of identifying the opportunities, and we'll just kind of keep at it and see and get as much as we can for our businesses. Accomplishments, again, those are just some pictures where the Latino Economic Development Center was here in City Hall, and the Washington Area Investment Group was here as well. Just some pictures. Here I'll disperse a list of our dispersed grants. You see the project at $300,000 for Project Restore 2.0. The correlating addresses there. PNC Bank gave you a little list of the companies that we were able to help. I would say a special big shout out and great job to Jumbo Cafe, which is located in the Domain, and they were a joy to work with, and just happy to help them. Literally, when you go around the roundabout by the Domain, those areas could be closed for minutes to hours, and so they're getting no traffic but for the folks that may live there or park outside at the university. On your far right side, the Purple Line Small Business Grant is right there. Again, the deadline was March 14th, and we were able to help a few of our businesses apply and just give them information, but it was all submitted online directly to MDOT and their consultants. Business dispersed grants, you got a good look at what was done for the business retention program for fiscal year 2025, not 24, but 2025. That was our Riley House deal, and thank you very much for getting that done for us. Riley House is up and running. Faux Tom is coming around the circle with their new location, and it should be opening soon. We'll get some announcements. Taqueria Habanero has been over at this site across the street from City Hall, working hard and earnestly to get open, and they're coming around the bend where they're just waiting for reviews of their permits that have already been let, but so they're just kind of getting check-offs from WSSC and the county DPI. The Business Assistant Program, you have a list of names there, and a big load of them came, a big chunk of those businesses were in the, again, D4 Hollywood area, where we were just so focused on trying to stimulate those businesses up there and paying them attention. And so many times we hear about things that are going on downtown, but trust me, we're all over the city looking to get our businesses going and keep them going. So those names that you see there, I'm very familiar with all of the ownerships, and they're great people to work with, and hopefully we can keep them in College Park for a long time. New locations, just the announcement, they come and go. One of the things I wanted to mention on this before I took questions is that the dynamics of casual dining, they do come and go, and it's no one's fault. It's about timing. It's about the terms of an agreement or leases, and many times the city, we're beyond being able to help. It's on ownership and their commitments to get that done. But having said all of that, we're supercharged and always looking to add more people, add more businesses, and diverse offerings around the city. So there you have a list, and think we're just going to go on to our completed sales. The big one was Stone Straw. There were 3 lots available. One is closed. The other is under contract, and the wooded lot area is for sale. So that's the one up top, the little light, and looks like a number 1 to me, but there's a little swath of trees up there to the very top right. of the page is available. And then that's accumulating space of about 4 acres or so. And it was happy, we did speak in late 2022 to owner, I forget his name for right now, but the ownership was here to help us and kind of pitch an agreement and pitch a partnership for us. And I'm sorry, that was Mark Solomon, and Mr. Solomon appeared before us to talk about a partnership and how best to use that space. They continued on to market the property, and so they have sold one, the other is under contract to be sold, and then there's another swath remaining full of trees of 4 acres. So I want to brief you on that. This is a list of just some notable transactions, commercial transactions that went for sale late this year, and the most notable one is the Moose Lodge. And so we knew that that there was some pending actions to sell and not to sell, and so it went on for a long time. What finally happened, and you may get a little confused of reading my report, but here's the bottom line. The Moose Lodge organization sold to the Pentecostal Church, and then the Pentecostal Church just sold to a buyer down below there. You'll see the name, Bella Garcia Lucas. You will see that is the buyer for an Ethiopian based religion church that will take the space of the church or of the Moose Lodge starting June of 2025. And so you'll see the Moose Lodge is still in operations there, as well as the Pentecostal Church, but they will be moving out in June of 2025. So in 2 months, they'll be gone. The rest of the fraternity sorority house on Knox Road, Berwyn House Road had the University Club apartment complex. There was no desire by the county to inflict or to act on a ROFA, rights of first refusal, on that particular property being for sale. So it went on. The sale went through to Cape Advisors, and then the industrial center, which in the back of Berwyn Road, sold to the Urban Investment Partners. Again, just highlighting some of the sales. There've been some sales all through, but these were the top 4 that I kind of felt like really gave us a breath of what was going on in the commercial space. On the page, setting to the right side are the sales and leasing transactions. You can kind of get a breath of what was going on in College Park and the different districts, our 4 districts. So, affordable housing project, the flats. Really excited to have it, low-income housing, but it's really a first-class development, and they will host on the retail end. They'll have the Food for Maryland folks in there, and just excited to work with the Copeland family, the developers of this flats development. Everything that they say they're going to do, they do. So we're happy with them. And again, applications are being accepted right now for anyone that want to apply, and it is income-based, and so you can go online and apply for an apartment. Our challenges, again, university, senior housing, and our student housing. Senior housing, we are combing our 5.9 square miles of city land to see if we can partner or create a partnership to bring newer senior and affordable housing to the city of College Park. And so we will continue to do that. It's a conversation that my office is having every day with someone. And we just hope that we're going to be able to deliver and bring you some good news sooner than later. Student housing just gives you a rundown of all the apartments here. I think you saw a stat in my report that said that we had over 50,000 beds, and that was a mark that brought in a 3-mile radius, and so we reached some of north, which would be Greenbelt, and some are south, which would be Hyattsville availability. And so they kind of included it with what was what we call competitive versus students. I think the figure, if you want to just look at student housing available right here, right now, without considering the dormitories on campus, probably looking at 11 or 12,000 beds. And so, but I just want to mention that, and we seem like we have a fair amount of student housing available, and just now we got to go and find some senior housing, affordable housing. That is it. I can take any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much. Lots of good news, and thanks for your work in bringing businesses and retaining existing business in College Park. Thank you. Is it okay if I start from the right, Mr. Hill?
Mine's just a quick, easy question. As for full-time, were they allowed out of the lease?
Photom was allowed out, so Photom's lease ends here, a couple blocks away in April next month. So they had timed out of their lease. Okay, and they will have timed out of the lease come April next month. Okay. What day of April, I don't know.
That's okay.
Okay.
But at the same time, Northwest China was, I guess their timing their lease is different.
Their time of lease is different. All of them signed at different times. Northwest Chinese still has some time, and as a matter of fact, they're still kind of negotiating with the ownership over there. They are under lease, and they're in business as Northwest Chinese. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Hernandez.
No, you're okay. All right. Director Williams, thank you. First off, very impressed about the pace of economic development in and around the city. Super impressed with your professionalism to hit the very large city that you have with just your office. The flats, I live very close to the flats. The flats look beautiful, amazingly quick and professional they've been. We've had maybe very minor suggestions and complaints from residents, but they were always super responsive. I really sincerely want to thank you for helping fill the Hollywood Shopping Center and the Shoppers Groceries Shopping Center. All of those facilities are filled. Thank you for filling the Best Buys with an affordable clothing store, Ross Dress for Less. A lot of positive feedback from residents. I want to make a couple more comments and just keep them quick. So I want to kindly advise avoiding centralizing the affordable housing projects just north of Maryland 193. I want to ensure that I say this out loud because, sometimes we need to deliberately think about where we're putting some of these housing projects. I welcome, affordable housing projects. It's just, you don't want to just centralize them in one part of the city. And then I have 5 requests for the Economic Development Office. I'll start off in just order of precedence. Looking for third place hangout spots. I personally would like to welcome a rock climbing facility. So if it's possible for us to reach out to big rock climbing facilities like Movement, Waltopia, Touchstone Climbing, or any of the sorts, would really welcome that. Just think there could be a good place for folks to really enjoy some of that space that we started to see open up on the Route 1 corridor, but defer to your expertise. I'm also seeking opportunities to partner with some of the apartments located around the city. I'm thinking Winfield, Cambria, Mazza, Monument Village, all of these various apartment complexes that I want to be able to reach those residents as well. Next one, to look into purchasing the Maryland Department of Labor building in the Mom Shopping Center. I know, I just want to toss it out there.
Keep them coming.
And an earnest look to develop some sort of large mural that captures the community spirit near the Hollywood streetscape. I'm trying to really program that area since we've invested so much in the city. And then finally, and this is the grand idea, but I think we could really put some thought into investing in the strategic annexation of north of College Park. I'm thinking from Route 1 to Sunnyside and Edgewood to Sunnyside. That space currently belongs to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Super encouraged about the space and what it does for federal research, but also mindful that the city will continue to grow, and if we do the proper steps now, we could probably be a part of what that future looks like.
Thank you.
Thank you. That will keep you busy 1 year.
Always, District 1 just always asking for economic development.
You have a guaranteed job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Estes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Williams, thank you for all that you've done and been able to do as it relates to economic development in the city. I do want to echo what my colleague, Mr. Hernandez, said about the concentration of affordable housing. We've had that conversation many times over about affordable housing being throughout the city. I also note, though, that there is limited land use or limited land for us to use in order to do that. So I understand the challenges that may exist there. With that said, going back to Stone Straw, I just want to put this out there. I know that when, I don't know how much it costs, but I do note that that area, that wooded area is sort of, it surrounds or encapsulates a residential area. And I do recall years ago, prior to me getting on council, believe that this area was discussed as having housing that was placed there. And I don't know, as we talk about senior housing, if this would be a possibility. So as you're having conversations about partnerships, I wonder if that could be a possibility. So just putting it out there as a thought. Thank you.
That's the wooded parcel.
Thank you. Can you tell us who is the buyer of that lot that has been sold recently?
Still unidentified. I did speak with their
Okay.
counsel today. As soon as I'll blast an email
Sure.
to you. It's
Thank you.
coming. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Whitney, do you have?
Yes, thank you. A couple things, just for, I know you're always trying to stay on top of so many things simultaneously all over the city, but if you'll forgive me for putting another one, an asterisk next to another one, the sale of the Berwyn Industrial Center, we have heard that the new buyers have approached a homeowner just inside Lakeland in a home that, I mean, it's a house that's currently zoned residential, to try to purchase their property. And we would really like to know why they're doing that and what their goals are with that, because there's a little concern about the industrial area encroaching upon one of the single-family homes in Lakeland, which we're really trying to get more single-family homes there and have more home ownership. So that's one thing I would love your help keeping an eye on. I also had a question about the sale of the Hugo College Park University Club. And if you have any insight into why the county did not consider exercising right of first refusal on that. Because this is some of the only affordable student housing in the city. And one of the cited, goals of this council is affordable housing for all. And it struck me that with the renovation and kind of upscaling of the units within that building, that that affordability might be under threat.
Mr. Young?
No, so County Pam Wilson, Miss Pamela Wilson is the Director of Housing in that department of Prince George's County Housing. Spoke to her directly. It has a lot to do with their budget, their affordability, what they can do, and what the partners, they have an approval list on their developers that they use. All that stuff didn't go together. But here is what I know, because Ms. Whitney, you and I did speak specifically about this particular property and the ROFR process. We've asked for a meeting with the county to go through and hear the steps. There's some slides and pictures and booklets that they issue, but I think we need to talk to them and get a clear feeling for what the steps are. So for what I know right now is kind of budget money related, but yeah, and as soon as we get the meeting, you'll be the first to know. Yeah.
Thank you.
That would be excellent, and that would be wonderful. And if any part of that process can be making sure that the city is informed before any of this happens and any of these decisions are being made, I think that would give us more of an ability to ascertain if we had anything to contribute to a process.
You won't believe this, but I was very aggressive in making that point with the county. And what I'm hearing is that they really can't give us a notification until they know what they're going to do.
Okay.
So some of it, we never hear from them because they never come back. Again, we want to kind of get in and hear for ourselves what their process is. Not criticize them, but it just, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for always giving us a very thorough report. I do appreciate it. I do want to pick up on what Councilman Whitney just said about making sure that we have an understanding of what's happening, hopefully in a timely fashion. And I guess this is where, as you continue to build relationships with those individuals in the county, hopefully that will elicit a pivot on their part to be able to sit down with us to talk about what will the future be like collectively together, College Park and them. But I did want to ask you in regards to, of course, you know, the Moose Lodge. And if it's not a conversation that can happen now, I know my colleague, myself, would like to sit down with you regarding the church purchasing the Moose Lodge, and then now they have another entity right next door to that. What is going to happen with that parcel? Are they keeping that too? So that's
Right.
a concern.
I agree, and we, once we get in touch with Mr. Lucas, and we think fairly soon because they're slated to move in June, 60 days or so from now. I'll be looking forward to talking to them soon, and
Okay.
you'll know.
And I know you will keep us surprised. And number two, talking about amenities, I thank you, Councilman Hernandez, for your 5-point list. I'm gonna add a
I thought
six.
it's at 10.
10, but it's okay, because we're going to continue to grow and expand. I'm going to add number 11 on the list. I know you had the piano store, but there's amenities for us who are parents of four-legged friends. And I would like to see if we can find some kind of amenity where there is a type of fellowship where you can go to either a dog cafe, and there's actually one in Columbia called Bark Social. And I won't go into, but it's very nice there. It's a cafe, it's an actual, there's a bar. There is, you can have appetizers, as well as there is a little dog park and a pool for the dog. So I think that's, don't laugh, Mr. Hernandez. Those of us who have four-legged furry pets that are our part of our extended family.
It's liking the idea.
Yes, we want to have some places we like to go where we can take our pets. So excuse me, but if there's a possibility, Mr. Williams.
Sure, if the space is there and the risk-taking measures are there, I totally support a dog park. And yes, I have heard of a couple of dog parks for kind of like you can eat or drink and be friends. And there's also a couple in Washington, D.C. So if it works and someone's willing to lay out the risk capital for it, I think it's a wonderful idea.
Okay, and my last one is in regards to amenities for mothers who are raising their children. They're stay-at-home moms, a place where they can gather to fellowship, do yoga, all of those things. I think that's something to make us a city that is welcoming to that energy as well.
Agreed, agreed.
I don't want to keep you too busy.
I'm sorry?
I don't want to keep you too busy.
No, I appreciate it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great ideas. Ms. Mackey?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Williams. As always, your report was very interesting and really inspiring. I did send you questions this morning. Oh, did you get them?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. I thought maybe I didn't press send.
Working on
So
them.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to reiterate, because I know you're going to take the time to answer me when you get a chance. I want to thank my colleague for bringing up the rock climbing. I've been, as you know, been saying it for years.
That's right.
And I do also applaud the ideas of having diversity in our city, like my colleague just had the great idea of a dog cafe where owners can take their dogs and places where people can meet. And I think it's one thing that is really important is that we have places for people to come together that are not necessarily bars. Some of the younger students that have expressed to me like a need for more places where they can just hang out. So is not don't serve alcohol, and that would be a great amenity for them. But and you know my passion for adult living places and also adult daycare. So I just want to thank you for your report, and I thank my colleagues for all the great ideas, and I think that this is more than a job for one person. So, we're here for you. I'm really excited about the tourism coming, and I would love to see like us really develop that. People coming into our city, especially, come to College Park and go to a dog cafe. Come to College Park and, go to this place or rock climbing. So, and the one thing that, and I can't take any credit for this because a resident had this idea, was about parking availability. Like, really, like, knowing exactly, like, if you're going to Chopped, where can you park, or things like that. We know that, but sometimes people who are coming into our city don't necessarily know that we have the municipal lot or we have the parking over at the Artemisia building and things like that. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, Mr. Rigg.
Thank you. I'll be brief. One question about the Moose Lodge, the Mooses, the Meese, the Moose.
Whatever the plural is, I don't
Came
know.
to us a couple of years ago and flagged that they were very interested in staying in College Park and looking for an additional home. I noticed recently that the former bed store that was originally the home of the Knights of Columbus, I believe, on Baltimore Avenue, is closing. And I mean, that was built for a fraternal order. So I was thinking that perhaps if the Moose were interested, they could look into that. I don't know. Do you know whether the Moose still have a desire to stay in College Park, and do they have any prospects in that regard?
Well, wonderful question, and one of the things that when Mr. Young and I took a tour of the Moose Lodge is that you knew it, but until they said it, a lot of those decisions are made by their corporate folks, and so I do know, with speaking to them as recent, and speaking to the Moose Lodge folks as recent as last week, they do want to stay open. They do want to exist somewhere in College Park. I think they're probably looking for more instruction from their national leadership than us. So,
thank you.
Yep.
And another question I have is, I think, could be wrong, but I think the highest concentration of vacant retail in our city is actually downtown right now. We have several vacant storefronts right here on Baltimore Avenue that seem to have a real, be really slow in terms of finding new tenants. Do you have anything that you can make in terms of observations or analysis of why that might be so, or what you see as turning that around?
So we know that one of the ones that kind of like a sore spot is the former leasing space for the TDC, the Union on Knox. That has some limitations on the length of how far the landlord would let you lease out. Also, it's not kitchen ready, so meaning that you would have to come in and build the infrastructure for kitchen, which is extremely expensive right now. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that done. We knew it, and so therefore, when the when the Milk Boy space was vacant for so long, we urgently present the state with the possibility of putting that in so we could use a grant to help out. The others, yeah, you're right. I mean, some people may not believe it that we do have some vacancies here, and it's just again the dynamics of the market, the dynamics of eateries, but we're aware of it, and we try to offer it up and get them filled up as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Obviously, I mean, those are the sorts of small retail build-outs that should be able to attract smaller businesses. I suspect that there are some market dynamics going on with commercial rents. I'm hoping that as we had the opportunity to talk on this dais about our vacant and blighted property tax options, that those are the sorts of things that are sort of front of mind for me. And then finally, more of an observation. I think there's an interest expressed among several council members to make sure that affordable housing is evenly distributed throughout the city. And I think oddly, all but one of the custom or purpose-built affordable housing in the city of College Park are south of 193. I think only one, and that being Attic Towers, is north of 193. But the rest, Spellman House is south of 193, Alden Berkeley Townhomes south of 193, and the largest purpose-built affordable housing complex in the city of College Park is in District 3. It's at the Outworth over by the College Park Metro Station. So I share my colleagues' interest in making sure that that there's availability of affordable housing throughout the city, and would just share the observation that for purpose-built affordable housing, it is fairly widely distributed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to thank you for bringing the second way the biannual Taste of College Park. So this is fantastic. I don't know. Everyone knows. Maybe Mr. Catlin knows. Many years ago, before I think in the 90s probably, the College Park used to have an Taste of College Park.
Taste, yeah.
So the reason I know, when we started the College Park Day, we are talking about bringing back the Taste of College Park instead of having College Park Day back in 2009.
Yeah.
So it used to be there.
I think it'll be.
Thank you for bringing this back.
Thank you. With the help of our events group and Kenny and communications, we're going to see if we can launch it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. Please make it brief. Second bite.
Well, I didn't realize when we started having our questions here that I kept mine just to the presentation, and I didn't realize we were going to get to comment about requests and things like that and other things
Please go ahead.
on here.
How many you want to add? Another 10?
Well, I'm just to add on to what our Mayor Pro Tem said about the dog cafe. I mean, there's many places, bars, they allow people to bring dogs, but not cats. And a cat cafe
You can have a cat cafe.
would be great.
Kitty cafe.
Because a lot of these cat cafes also work in conjunction with their local shelters in having adoptions there as well. But I also wanted to follow up on what Councilmember Riggs mentioned about the mattress store. Michael, has that property been recently under contract, or I heard through the grapevine that there's a neighborly entity that's in the neighborhood that has pursued that property?
Yes, there were some suitors. It kind of went hot and cold. And then I think recently, and when I say recently, I think by the end of the year, first of this year, there was some action put on it. Local, I believe there could be some local players in it, but I also think that there could be some investors involved as
Mhm.
well. Some out-of-town money attracted to it.
Okay, so I'll get into a little more detail in the sense that I question the commercial use, if they would need an exception if it were to be more car dealership space.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that with our goals of redeveloping the Route 1 corridor north of 193, adding more industrial use to it is not along our goals. So I just wanted to make sure that it's on the radar of how we protect it from becoming just more car dealership space.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need to answer me tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that.
No,
that's-
I understand. So I do understand your
Okay.
concern. I just get to thinking about,
How
what
can
do
they
we
do
put in
that?
place to stop someone to turn it into.
We have
just-
limited authorities,
Yeah.
as you're saying.
Thank you.
And along the same note, there was another property across from Mazda Grand Mark that was recently purchased, and that property owner would like to put a car wash on it. And they would need an exception because that was not allowed use for this corridor. Could we work with them to find something that would be an acceptable use for that location?
I'll give you a clear answer, and that's yes. We'll engage with any owner. I think it's kind of hard, it's challenging when you walk up to an owner of a property and start trying to tell them what to do, but you can work with
Not so
them in
much telling them what
partnership.
to do,
Yeah.
but offering suggestions that would not require an exception.
Perhaps, yes.
Yeah, something like mixed-use development might be more
Right.
acceptable, as you're saying.
And we could really use a daycare in our, just in general. And that might be a great space for something like that.
Agreed.
So,
Okay, thank you.
just-
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez and then Ms. Whitney. Please make it brief.
Potentially, another option could be to maybe diversify some of the luxury dwellings that are concentrated south of Maryland 193, maybe potentially offering some options up north and redeveloping some of the land that's up there. Just a thought. I mean, they're just kind of going through. Similar to the flats, it's a great facility. I think just to touch on Councilmember Hughes' point, if it's possible for us to somehow be a tool for you with some of the proposed developments that have been at least emailed to us through either the county or directly to the council members,
Sure.
we want to be a part of the discussion and not necessarily just ignore it until it happens. I know that many of our residents do not want any of the car washes. No more car washes on Route 1. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney. Maybe this is the final one?
Maybe, yes, just very brief, just a clarification on what I think my colleagues were saying as far as affordable housing being distributed around the city. I totally hear my colleague's point about the purpose-built affordable housing, the Atworth, next to the Metro. That's 80% AMI. I think the concentration of housing in District 2 and, dipping into District 1 is, Section 8 housing, more like 50% AMI, and also an average 65%, I believe it was, at the flats. So those are kind of, if we look at price points, to a lot of people, the Atworth doesn't feel that affordable, I think. So I just think we need to ensure we have accessible, affordable housing everywhere, and especially close to our metros, and hopefully something a little bit more affordable than 80%, I think is what we were getting at. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So that's all we have. Thank you again for, you have a
Thank
long
you.
list of work.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
We'll keep them.
Congrats. Thank you very much.
Is it possible to put this slide up on our website? I think we have.
Oh,
an
it's on,
economic
yeah, we'll get
development.
it. No worries.
Okay.
Yep. We'll get it
It's
up.
lots of good information in there.
Oh.
Thank you.
Mom, water.
So the next order of business is an exciting one. Our new District 3 Councilmember Ray Ranker will be swearing in. So I'll go down to make that happen.
I had my family up there with us, so come on up. You're all in it too.
Yeah, of course. Good job.
A lot of crazy questions. I'm gonna tell somebody with $1 million what to do.
Thank you all for coming.
Come on, man.
So congratulations, Mr. Ranker, for being elected and to fill up the vacant seat that we have been missing for such a long time. So our council will have 8 players to play. Thank you so much for making that happen. So the oath of office ceremony is pretty simple. So what you need to do, I'll be stating, and then you will be repeating after me. So please raise your right hand, and you can take it on your hand so that you can read it. Please repeat after me. No. I like that. I like that. I state your name.
I, Raymond P. Ranker,
Do solemnly
do solemnly
swear or affirm.
swear or affirm,
One of them actually. So.
swear
Okay. That I will
that I will
support the Constitution
support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that
and that
I will be faithful
I will be faithful
and bear
and bear
true allegiance
true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support
and support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that
and that
I will,
I will,
to the best of my skill
to the best of my skill
and judgment,
and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality
without partiality
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute
execute
the office of council member,
the office of council member,
District 3,
District 3,
for the city of College Park,
for the city of College Park,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state
and laws of this state
and the charter of the city.
and the charter of this city.
Congratulations. All right, congratulations, one again. It feels so full now. we've been missing that spot for a while, waiting for. It's been our tradition that when a new council member is selected and starts his or her job, we give him or her opportunity to say a few words and remarks. So I earlier this morning I told Mr. Ranker, I know it's a little late, but it would be nice if you can say a few words.
Well, thanks, Mr. Mayor. My grandfather said that the best speech is a short one. And so I want to thank my wife, Karen, and my daughter, Lucia, and my son, David, and my mom, Cindy, for your love and support. Somebody's shy over there. I want to thank the city staff and for all that you do, and then also especially the staff and the many people who made this special election happen and in a fair and smooth process. I want to thank the residents of District 3 for your trust and for this responsibility to be good steward of your resources and your trust. And I'm excited to work with an amazing mayor and mayor pro tem and council members to serve this city and beyond. If you have any complaints, District 3 residents, I invite you to direct them to Mr. Rigg, and I look forward to serving. Thank you.
My goodness, that really short and sweet. Fantastic. We'll have a lot of fun on this council now. Thank you for joining. All right, we have two work sessions, next order of business. We have two work session items, and thankfully we don't have any action items, so we don't need to work to Mr. Ranker tonight. So the first one is about the legislation on stop sign cameras, and I believe Mr. Coker has joined online. Am I correct? Yes. Is he? Yeah, he's participant. Mr. Coker, the floor is yours. Please unmute yourself. I think you are in Washington, right?
Yes, sir. I'm in Seattle, Washington, helping my son to move back to Maryland.
Oh. Good daddy.
Yeah. Just give me a minute or so. I'm just trying to pull out my item on my computer. Just bear with me for a second, please. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I'm Jitender Kokar, Public Services Director with the City of College Park. The item under question is 14A, and it's about legislation on the stop sign cameras. We had started a pilot program back in September last year, and we went through 9 different locations in the city. We had reviewed the data and followed through the direction from City Council and Bike and Pedestrian Action Committee recommendations and some of the feasibility items and recommendation from the vendor that conducted the pilot program. We had to go through the process by doing the enabling legislation, and today's item is just related with that. Pursuant to Section 27-701.1 of Transportation Article, Annotated Code of Maryland, local jurisdiction is authorized to use stop sign monitoring systems on local and state highways in school zone in Prince George's County to record violation of state laws requiring obedience to stop signs unless the driver of the motor vehicle received a citation from a police officer at the time the owner or driver of a motor vehicle is subject to a civil penalty of up to $40 if motor vehicle is recorded by a stop sign monitoring system during the commission of violation. District court has exclusive rights, have exclusive original civil jurisdiction in a civil infraction. Several municipalities in the Prince George's County have passed similar legislations to allow for stop sign monitoring systems. Staff has identified required amendments to the city code, to chapter 184 of the city code, and prepared the attached draft 25-0-02 ordinance for council's review. I believe the amended code section has been provided to all the city councils and all the residents of the city who have access to our hearing agenda here. I'll be glad to answer any question anyone may have. Stephanie, do you want to add anything apart from what I just read?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I wanted to reiterate that as Mr. Kokar had stated, the authorization for this comes from the transportation article 217. I've been working with it so long, 27-701.1 of the Transportation Article Annotated Code of Maryland. And this section specifically deals with the authority in Prince George's County. So the ordinance, the draft proposal before you is, has the required terms and provisions as required by state law. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on the ordinance.
Thank you. Is there any question, Ms. Whitney?
Yes. My question is, how does the article define highways? Because I looked at a lot of the proposed locations when I asked about them, and they didn't seem to match what in my normal human parlance would be a highway. So I'm just not sure where we have that.
I did a quick review of the transportation article and did not see it, but that's probably because it could be in different sections, but the authorizing legislation uses that term. So we have to use that term. And I'm sure it's in the transportation article, and I'd be happy to update council as soon as I find the exact definition.
Any other question? Mr. Hill?
Yes, thank you. I am trying to understand the difference between a speeding ticket and a stop sign camera ticket when it comes to rental cars. Do we not send that in, speeding tickets into rental car agencies if, they can, because they will have a record of who is operating the vehicle, who leased the vehicle during that time that the ticket was issued, and how does that differ from the stop sign?
Mr. Coker, can you maybe, because you deal with the stop sign camera, no, the speeding camera?
I believe that in both of these processes, whether you are speeding through a speed camera versus you are failing to stop at a stop sign, both of them are issued based on the violation of a law. And there may be, if the vehicle is being rented one, they can have that information. And the way the stop sign camera, law is written, it just captures the license plate and it is issued to the owner of the license plate.
Okay. Is that helpful?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that because the violation runs to the owner, they want to make sure that they're actually getting the owner. So the statute has a procedure for rental companies that must follow to try to get to the person who was actually driving the car, and they will be issued the citation.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't the person who leased to rented the car be the person driving the car? So I don't see an issue there.
There isn't an issue. Yeah. I mean, eventually, the person who is driving, he'll be responsible.
So we will be ticketed.
Eventually, through the rental car company. Yeah.
Yeah, they pass it along.
Pass it along. Yeah.
The way I read it, it seemed like the way I read it, it seemed like rental vehicles would be exempt. Basically, would not be sending
No.
the department may not mail a citation to the motor vehicle rental company. So I
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
I know my comment's about to be one of those putting the cart before the horse here, but the only location that was recommended for District 1 is near the Al Huda School. Before there's any meaningful placement of stop sign cameras, I hope that we're able to talk to the stakeholders to include the administration Al Huda to ensure that we avoid any unnecessary stacking of cars where it's already extraordinarily busy in this space. So that's really it. It's just beforehand. And I'm just concerned with this being to the letter of the law that we might need to make exceptions in this sort of space if we end up putting a stop sign camera there for a period of the day, right? If hey, let them just walk through and we'll turn off the camera. So.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when the vendor came before the council. I think the technology is there to make that kind of exception, right? Program that into the camera.
There is technology that we can utilize and work with them with whatever vendor is selected. So, but this is something that we also vetted through the Bike and Pedestrian Committee to look at those locations. And I believe we started with about 9 locations and are down to 5 of the first locations. This is a pilot program, so it's not, this does time out, so it's not just in perpetuity right now.
I appreciate it. I think for me is I know that the technology, exception to the technology is there. I just hope, and Ms. Stephanie, you could correct me if I'm wrong, that there is room available in the legislation for us to make that exception as well, right? If I'm trying to explain myself correctly, is that we can turn off the cameras to avoid the stacking of cars at high traffic times, but does it have to be in the legislation too to be able to create that exception?
I think so.
Kenny? Well, I was going to say the law is going to authorize us to, have the monitoring system in place. And in terms of the technology and being able to turn it off and turn it on, I think we work with the vendor, but the actual site, we'll see if there's probably any problem with it. We could revisit whether that's a good location.
Got it. Thank you.
I think from my standpoint, that is something with Al Huda administration that we need to correct regardless of whether the camera's there or not. Yeah. And it has been a constant problem that has not been dealt with by the administration at that school. And the problem has kind of been transferred to us as a city, as a staff to resolve. And it's really their parents who are dropping their kids at that school and how they have the traffic pattern running during school beginning and end that needs to be corrected.
Thank you. Look forward to having a conversation offline about that.
Yeah, I think that's the way forward. Let's engage them moving forward. Let's take the first bites first. Ms. Mackey.
Right. So, so this would be an ordinance change so that the residents will have the opportunity to give public comment at the public hearing, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
And also the ordinance itself, has notice requirements that, you have to provide notice to the residents before anything would go into effect.
Right.
Also, the ordinance says that you can also write warnings, you don't always have to issue citations.
Okay. And my second question would be that, right now, we're just talking about the ordinance. We're not talking about the company that we're going to use or where. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ranker?
Yeah, if I may add to what Ms. Mackey said, I think when we did the reach out to District 4 folks, this request came from Ms. Mackey at the time, and we definitely want to have 30 to 60 days notice so that people against whom this law is being implemented, they have some time to adjust to it. And we definitely remember that that is going to be working through our implementation. And thank you for bringing it, Ms. Mackey.
Thank you. Mr. Ranker?
This will probably be the first of many. I apologize if
Please go.
I'm not up to speed on things. I've tried to do my research, but the Director of Public Services mentioned municipalities that have put this in place, neighboring municipalities. I'm wondering if we can know a little bit more about which ones and what they've found in terms of decreasing, or I should say increasing public safety around stop signs, in terms of revenue generation and that kind of things.
Mr. Coker?
Certainly, Councilmember Ray Ranker, definitely, it's a very valid point. And we learned from all the neighboring jurisdictions that have implemented and review and analyze the feedback that is provided based on the data collected, and also what we have collected here in the pilot program within the city, and we analyze it and we work with it to amend our policy direction, and that direction definitely comes from our stakeholders like our council, our residents, and our businesses in the city.
Thank you. I believe a couple of our neighboring cities have already implemented, including City of Greenbelt, City of Laurel, I know. I'm not sure. New Carden, Donna?
Hyattsville.
I think most of them.
Yes, Hyattsville
Hyattsville.
and Mount Rainier.
All 4 cities, yeah. Okay. So we are probably kind of lagging behind, but not too late. Thank you. First bite, Mr. Rick.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. In general, I think this is a proposed ordinance that closely tracks our speed camera ordinance. Looks a lot like it. So people who focused a lot on the speed camera ordinance over the years will find it very familiar. Sort of within an educational zone or within an educational, within a half a mile of an educational institution, being the University of Maryland, there aren't time limits on this like there are on some speed cameras in other parts of the state. This would be 24 hours a day, is what it looks like. Is that right, Miss? Yeah. So, and the amount of the fine would also be the $40 amount, which is the same that we charge for speed cameras. So, so it's analogous, and I think it's an appropriate place to start and kind of see how this program goes. I'm supportive of it, and I know that the city manager has proposed a few sites to consider in each of our districts to start the program, and at least for the D3 sites, they seem like reasonable sites. I suspect that our residents might find that there would be other places that they would or would not support them over the course of a pilot period. So I expect we're going to get a lot of feedback about this, but I really commend staff for drafting the initial ordinance and coming up with something that looks very implementable, and I look forward to taking the next steps. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you. Any first bite before I take the second one? Mr. Hill.
Yes, so given Ms. Mackey's question about the vendor, I assume this is just going to be the same apparatus we used before, that's similar to the speed cameras that's going to be there? Nothing permanent yet, right?
It depends on the vendor that's selected. So it kind of be premature for me to kind of really talk about that, but it could be on a pole versus in a permanent location versus what those were more mobile devices that were used for that. They may utilize that initially until they can actually get a hard connection and electrical feed to actually, they don't need an electrical feed on their cameras. They're, on most of them, they're solar. So we may not have too much of an issue there, but it'd be either a pole mounted or or mounted, depending on the location. It could also be mounted on a building, for instance, but.
So with the one vendor that came before us, they were claiming nearly half of the ticket. And it had been a suggestion that if we could change the amount of the ticket to a higher amount and have them, because, well, I'm trying to recall if this would still be valid. We were having issues about funding the Route 1 study, US Route 1 study north of 193. And I believe our former colleague had suggested having a higher ticket with a portion of that ticket going dedicated towards that funding. So I just want to make sure if this is something, if we choose to, given the way it's written, that we could possibly go back and adjust that if needed.
No, and Ms. Anderson, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the legislation, in particular, how the proceeds from tickets are utilized, it has to go toward improvements that are traffic related or pedestrian related. So it's very limited in how we can utilize those funds. And the I don't believe it allows us to do a percentage, and I think that's why we have actually a $40 fee. It gets a little bit more complicated than that as you start looking through the requirements of the law.
It's very similar to speed camera. I mean,
Almost identical.
It has to be dedicated to anything related to public safety. That's their state mandate. All right, that's all we have. Mr. Coker, thanks and Ms. Anderson, thank you both for working on the legislation. Ms. McDonald, did you raise your hand?
No.
No, okay. All right.
So
that's fine.
you're okay with us moving forward with bringing forward the draft?
Please bring it back with
Gotcha.
the draft legislation for the introduction, right? Yeah, that would be the next step. All right, we have the very last item, which is the legislative review, and this will be taken by Mr. Gardiner, our Assistant City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We had crossover day yesterday, which is the date by which bills have to pass at least one side, the House or the Senate. There are exceptions, and for example, last year, one of the governor's bills on housing didn't pass by crossover date, but because it was the governor's bill and it was a priority for the governor, it eventually did make it through the process, and we spent some time on that one to try to protect a densification of single-family homes around Lakeland for that particular bill. A quick update on some of the bills that we've supported and have been tracking and are interested in. The legislation that we supported that would increase the municipal fine from $1,000 to $5,000 for all municipalities did pass in the Senate side without amendment, and so now the House will consider that, and we'll probably reach out and have some folks testify when we find out when the hearing date is set for that. We had, I think, about, 6 or 7 or 8 elected officials testify for that bill. Unfortunately, the land use bill that we supported did not go anywhere this year. We need to regroup and figure out a strategy to try to get more support at the county level and figure out how to bring that back if we're still interested. Let's see, Councilmember Rigg mentioned the fee and structure for stop sign cameras and speed cameras. There is legislation that did pass one side and crossed over that would increase the fine for speed camera violations for speeds over 12 miles per hour. Right now, it's $40 whether you're speeding by 12 miles an hour, which I always seem to get caught at, or 15 or 20 miles an hour, which I never get caught at. It's all $40. So there's a proposal to increase that pretty substantially. That's still under consideration. Let's see, other bills. There are several childcare related bills, not of enormous financial benefit or cost, but bills that I believe the child care report that the comptroller's office put out have supported or mentioned, and they are still in play. They've crossed over. One relates to property taxes for child care centers. Another relates to supporting health benefits or access to health benefits for child care workers. So those are still in play. And we had some concerns about short-term rentals, having the ability for a tenant to essentially sublet their unit for short-term rental. That did not cross over, so presumably, hopefully that is dead. Let's see, a couple other items that are on the list. We talked about the vehicle laws, no stopping in bike lanes that we followed closely. That has crossed over. Let's see. I mentioned that the child care bills. Municipal fines, yeah, I mentioned that. I think that is it in terms of some of the bills I wanted to point out. One that we had talked about here and supported and testified or submitted testimony in favor, and that was immigration enforcement. That would protect sensitive locations such as churches, schools from immigration actions. That also passed over. A couple things, kind of bigger picture budget-wise. You may have seen discussions about continuing efforts to approve a budget that's balanced and proposals to tax sugary beverages. That seems to be dead at this point. There was another proposal to tax business-to-business services. That also seems to be dead. The budget needs to pass by the end of this month, and the last day of session is April 7th. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you for your work, and thank you for the advocacy. I'm glad to see that at least one of the two major items we have been advocating, the municipal infraction item, that has crossed over, which is a good thing. We have to see what to do next year about the municipal or the land use bill. Probably the third time it will be charmed. We'll see. Thank you. See. I don't know whose hands. Ms. Whitney, please go ahead.
Sure. I have two questions, not about state legislation, but about the report that was provided to us by Ali Perez. One, under the Supplementary Appropriations Act, the budget adjustments at the county level, they're proposing a $44.8 million reduction for the police department. When I believe they're short-staffed, do we know how those reductions are supposed to be manifested? Is that infrastructure, or do we know anything about that?
I do not.
I know a little bit. And a lot of that has to do with their overtime, and obviously with their budget constraints, how much they're actually able to put officers out on overtime. That actually might help us on the contract side, actually, if that ends up being the case, because that means that we're the one of the few places that you can get more of that overtime and still get the police coverage. But I'll double check with Major Coletti and see what I can find out and pass that on to the council.
Cool, and I have one other question about the county legislation. The CB 006-2025, permanent rent stabilization for senior housing. It says it applies to all age-restricted senior housing, even previously exempt units, and protects seniors from excessive rent increases. I'm assuming that this would, it shouldn't ever need to apply to you know, Attic Towers or Spellman House, like that should never matter. But were something to happen, you know, that negatively impacted funding for those buildings, this would presumably protect them from their rents increasing from what they are now. There would be like a second layer of protection, I would think.
I can look in to see how that might apply. I know that generally some of the rent stabilization legislation has exempted more recently constructed buildings, for example. And it sounds like this, for seniors, would not have that exemption, but we can also see how it could apply to a place like Attic Towers or Spellman.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez.
Thanks for covering the crossover. Wondering if there was any of the bills that I had mentioned about health in our last session that made it over.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that list
Okay.
that we talked about.
No problem. I don't mean to put you on the spot,
Yeah.
so please take a look at it. I'm just concerned about what the state is doing in terms of trying to bridge any gap that may be coming from the federal level for health insurance.
All right, that's all we have. Again, thank you, Mr. Gardner. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Please go ahead, Ms. Mackey.
I did finish. So on page 138 of the CB 009-2025, the revision of elderly property tax credit. When this happens, can we please make sure that we get the word out to our seniors? Because it's been, pardon? It hasn't happened. Okay. So if it happens, because already some seniors have contacted me and I said, I do not think it has passed yet. I think that, you know, they're talking about it, but, you know, our seniors are concerned. And I just wanted to put that up on your radar to make sure that we get the word out to our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll use
Mr.
that
Gardner.
and Councilmember Whitney's question to urge folks to come Saturday to our town hall and speak with Councilmembers Olson and Dernoga and see if they can provide some additional information.
Absolutely. I can have an interactive session. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, again, Mr. Gardner, thank you for your work. Thank you. And keep us posted what happened on the Senate side. Sit crossover. All right, we are actually done with all the items. Now we go for request for status of future agenda items. I know Mr. Hernandez submitted a request. Please go ahead, Mr. Hernandez.
I don't know if Councilmember Ranker had yet had his computer yet, but I submitted an item this morning. Oh, not yet.
No, he
Stay
hasn't.
tuned. So I submitted an item for a voluntary pilot city camera program. And I submitted this item after listening to residents, both recently and since joining council, to address safety concerns and residents' feelings of safety. In the February public safety discussion with Deputy Chief Coletti, he explained that the footage that are used on some of these home cameras are essential and critical for actually solving and investigating some of the crimes that happen in our city. During the district discussion, we had a more robust discussion about what a future police force looks like in College Park, but I know we're really far from that discussion than this one. So I'm eager to kind of bridge it. and open this discussion on this item to council as a voluntary pilot city camera program in an effort to further partner with our contract police to address criminal activities occurring in the College Park and enhancing the domain awareness of our city streets. I think that this program will not only serve as an incentive for residents, but I think so I break it off. There's a recommendation on an amount to local cameras, but also to businesses. I think this is also an economic development tool that can help further incentivize businesses to call College Park home. I hope this is an investment that it serves as a deterrent, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on potentially rolling this out ahead of finalizing our next year's budget.
Thank you. Any questions? So I sent an email. This is the item actually Ms. Mackey and Ms. Mitchell probably can remember. Many years ago, we discussed this item a couple of times, and it's an important item. And you're right, Mr. Hernandez. Our community members, residents asked for it, and the staff actually spent quite a bit of time looking into it. I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago. Those discussion and studies should be still there. 2 years ago? Okay. So if you could see what was the issues there and if you could address it this time. I'd like to see this happening as well, personally.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hill.
Yeah. Yes, if I recall correctly, the county had done a program like that. After there was a youth that was murdered, and there was an investigation.
Yeah.
There were a number of home cameras, but none of them actually recorded. So they didn't have either the cloud subscription or some sort of means to record the data. And so I forget, it was only in one district within the county that they put together a
Pilot
program.
camera program.
Yeah, to subsidize it. And it'd be great to, if we're going to pursue this, which I support, and how many of you do not have cameras yet because the city passed it for us to have cameras too, so keep that in mind.
I think all of
But,
us.
yeah, if we're going to go forward with this, I think I would hope that we will use some of this other data collected out there and work with the police as to what kind of cameras and footage and placement would be useful if we're going to go down this route.
All right, Ms. Mitchell.
No problem, Mr. Mayor. I applaud my colleagues from District 1 bringing this up. Councilman Hernandez for bringing this up. I think it would be prudent if we look at the report that we have already. It's about 2 years ago, Mr. Young.
Yeah, I believe it was. I think the only thing that was, staff had concerns at that time was really about our capacity at that point.
Okay, so I think we should look at that and bring it back.
Yeah, and if we could remember also, I think there was because at that time the county was considering rolling out a pilot program, and we've been told that we don't need to duplicate. But unfortunately, as Mr. Hughes said, this was also implemented only to a specific district in the county, and that district is not District 1, our district. So still there's an opportunity for us to.
So, Mr. Mayor, will you entertain a motion?
A motion, yeah, all in favor? A motion, we need the motion first, right?
No, I think Councilmember Mackey has. Do you have another comment? Oh,
No, we haven't done with this request. So I need a second.
Yes, I'm just, because you had to make the motion to submit the item, right? This is only the second item. The first item we haven't got to. I make a motion to submit this agenda item for a pilot city camera program for a future agenda item.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstention? So thank you, it's been added. Thank you. Do you have second one? Did you submit?
No, not this time.
Okay, that saves our time. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to go back to Mr. Young and inquire if we can have a discussion item that I brought up in October of 2023.
Wow.
And that is the discussion of a city emergency operations center. I know there's money attached to that. I'm not even talking about that. I just wanted us to have a discussion about what it would look like in regards to, especially what happened the last time, and you had to have your temporary EOC in Davis Hall. So,
All right, staff can look into it, right? And, okay,
I'll look and see where we can schedule. There's a
Okay.
couple of items I think I've been asked about for getting scheduled.
thank you. Is there any other item for the future, add? So, Mr. Ranker, you probably already know that if you want to add anything, we need to go through a process, submitting an application. That's what Mr. Hernandez was talking about. There is an online application. Yeah. All right, seeing none, let's go to the next order of business, which is about comments from audience. Let me see, is there anyone online? We have a great audience in the room. There is one hand raised, Mr. Hussain. Please, can staff bring him in? I don't have the ability. Allow him to speak, please. Yeah, please identify yourself and for the record, and you have only 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Hussain Wahid, and I'm working on technology, advanced technology acceleration with University of Maryland College Park initiative. And just recently, we have found out there are a lot of legislative leads that are interested in participating in the voluntary technology advancement in different locations. And one of those happens to be, since I've been listening to City of College Park and I've had some discussions, so I've provided them preliminary information with respect to the problems cities face and how students can participate in the initiative for dynamical system standards. They are all interactive implementation specifications and standards that are open, and anybody can contribute to the enhancement of an initiative that involves advanced technology acceleration. And also the fact that the Center for Advanced Life Cycle Engineering is located at College Park and is currently ranked #1. We'd like to utilize the methodologies through a process that involves reconciliation with what has been happening in the past if there is some difference. And for that, we are going to reach out to the Department of Labor and Industry and also the Attorney General's office to facilitate open collaboration between different organizations. So I can probably be able to update you next time with respect to how it is proceeding. But there are several delegates and senators also interested in this initiative because of the transformative economic efficiency that can be delivered as a result.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and speaking. Anyone else? I don't see other hands. Seeing none, let's move to the very last item in the agenda, which is the comments from the mayor, council, student liaison, and city managers. I start with my left as usual. Mr. Rigg.
Pass, thank you.
Mr. Ranker.
I'll pass, but it's good to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ms. Mackey.
We're glad to have Mr. Ranker here. I'll pass.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry. I won't be passing. I'm glad to have you, Mr. Ranker. Myself and Councilman Hugh and Mayor Kabir had an opportunity to attend the National League of Cities Conference last week. It was a very beneficial conference, and one of the items that on the board of the directors that they discussed with the National League of City staff is about funding and how is the executive orders affecting municipalities and towns around the United States. And I had that homework assignment. I want to say thank you to Mr. Young because I did inform them of the possibility of some of the grants that we have out there in the coffer and how it may affect us if they're not funded. So hopefully we will receive information back from NLC regarding that. Number two, also had opportunity to attend the COG Board of Directors meeting. It was, the meeting was very heartfelt because it was a tribute to all the first responders who were out on January 6th or 9th, I can't believe the date of the airplane crash. So all of them from around the DMV area were there. and they were acknowledged. We also received a briefing from the executive director, Mr. Clark Mercer, about the effects of the cuts of the federal government workers and the fact that many of them who have been riffed for cause now are not able to apply for unemployment insurance because their letter says it's for cause. So they can't get unemployment. So that's something that I was very taken back by. Mr. Mercer is looking forward to coming to the city of College Park to actually do a presentation to us, which is it's about 14 pages, but it was a very thorough presentation to talk about how this, the effects of the executive orders, the federal cuts of the federal workers in the DMV area affect us, but also how it affects the financing system of WMATA. You have to remember that we all are contributing somehow in the state, and for us in Maryland, it comes from the state. So that's going to be, for us, we need to take, have a keen eye on how the budget is going to be able to close the gap for the funding to make sure that WMATA can move forward. DC, they're having a problem because, as you know, their budget is being cut. So Chair Mendelson talked about the fact that if their budget is cut, they'll have to go back to fiscal year 2024 budget to try to close the gap, and it will come, at least, it will come, to fulfill their portion will be less than what was anticipated. So this, everything that's going on has a triple effect for all of us here in the DMV area, and it's very important that we really keep a pulse of what's going on. And I look forward to Mr. Mercer coming to the city to give him a full report so we all can have a better understanding and wrap our arms around it. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. So on me, I'll be very brief. In addition to briefly attending NLC, I also attended in the previous week the MMA conference, Maryland's Mayors Association conference in Annapolis. It was a wonderful opportunity for me to network with not all of the 157 cities has sent their mayors, but quite a few of them, I believe, close to 100. And then Councilor Mackey and I attended Lee Chun Cafe ribbon cutting. You should have told about that. That's, Councilmember Whitney was there, and
Yes,
Mr. He was there too, right? Yes. Yeah, he was there too. That was wonderful, and it's right there. We should be trying sometime. And I attended the District 1 discussion previous week, and let's see. Huh? Oh, there's this. Maybe you can talk about that because you spent a lot of time on that. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you. And Duval Field, obviously, all of us attended. Almost all of us. Ms. Whitney.
Yes, very much enjoyed the Lee Chung Cafe ribbon cutting and the Duval Field ribbon cutting, all the ribbon cuttings. It was a great week. I loved the College Park Woods ribbon cutting was fabulous. A very exciting day. Good snacks at all places.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. It was a great couple of weeks, honestly. A lot of delicious food,
Absolutely.
so thank you.
Think about give us any other cities in our area and that had so many ribbon cuttings. And, we are progressing. Let's feel good about that. Dr. Esters.
Yes, I was able to attend one of those ribbon cuttings, so was excited about attending the ribbon cutting for Duval Field, but also wanted to mention attending on March 7th a Train the Trainer session in Greenbelt for immigrant rights. So I was able to share that information with council colleagues, but I wanted to also mention that both of our wonderful SGA liaisons, Ms. Ott and Ms. McDonald, were actually in attendance as well. So thank you.
Fantastic. Good job. Mr. Hill.
Yes, thank you. Yes, along with the rest of my colleagues, I enjoyed attending all the ribbon cuttings that we've mentioned. But also there was a unique celebration of the Sunset Celebration, the Office of Community Engagement and the Muslim Student Association at University of Maryland. We put together at the Methodist Church on Rhode Island a sunset celebration bringing together the Muslim community and our surrounding community of the Methodist Church Know Your Neighbors, Meet Your Neighbor event. And it was a nice dinner that we had outside, sponsored by Virtual Kitchen X, who's been a great supporter of our community. And it was a great time had communing with our fellow residents. And also on the note of attending the NLC Capitol Hill conference, attending these conferences for us are a very unique experience to network with our colleagues from across the country. And I got several inspirations that weren't on the agenda. One of them is going to result in a visit from the U.S. Green Building Council acknowledging our award for the LEED Gold certification and all the other sustainable efforts to making our city. They want to talk about what other municipalities are doing well and push that out there. So that was a really great connection to make. And I also got a inspiration that would be a multi-state effort. Not everybody knows this, but the state of Maryland has an official insect, and it's the checker spot butterfly. However, they have not been seen in Maryland for years because of destruction of their habitat. So through this networking, I got inspired that we can start a campaign to restore their habitat and work with the northern states where they still appear and encourage them to return to Maryland, and also support at the same time the declining monarch butterfly populations. So these conferences are great opportunities to make multiple networking connections and learn from all of the courses that we take there. So that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, I just want to just reiterate the Who is My Neighbor initiative that's in partnership between the University of Maryland and the United Methodist Church is a wonderful example. For those who do not know, we are in the holy month of Ramadan and in the period of fasting for Christians. It was just a great opportunity to be able to break fast, break bread with our Muslim neighbors and just community members. I thank everyone for their participation in putting it together. This is an annual event, and hope to continue to do this. Just wonderful example of being able to hear the call to prayer and to talk with folks that you just see in our neighborhood. I will add that we had the North College Park Civic Association meeting where we had the opportunity to approve a new plaque that will go on our holiday tree. Looking forward to that, and thank the city staff for putting it together. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Ott, looks like you're still online. Do you have anything?
Hi, I was happy to attend the Know Your Right conference.
Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
I was happy to attend the Know Your Rights event in Greenbelt, and I'm proud that we will be hosting our own, and I look forward to that. Also, congratulations again to the new city council member.
Thank you. Deserves it. Thank you. Can you send us more details about the Know Your Rights events on the campus, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'm currently emailing the city manager about it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for taking the lead. All right, Ms. McDonald.
I passed, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Young.
I just want to remind everyone around our meeting next Tuesday. We'll have dinner starting at 6 o'clock. There is a portion of the meeting that will be open to the public at the end. The first part will be an administrative session, which will be closed to the public.
Okay, and this is related to our advance, not retreat. We never retreat, we only advance, right?
Advance forward, yes.
Advance forward. All right. So we have, sorry, Ms. Whitney?
Sorry, I just have a question about what Mr. Young just stated. So are we conducting business at the end of the advance?
It is for you to give me direction on priorities. So you have to do that in an open session.
Okay, got it. Cool, thank you.
Okay, very nice. All right, so we have come to the very end of the meeting. At this point, I'll entertain a motion, but before that, to close, but before that, I have to read out a statement because we will be going into a closed session, and the statement reads as follows. The pursuant to the Maryland Annotated Code General Provisions Article 3-305B, the mayor and council of the city of College Park are providing notice that they will meet in a closed session on Tuesday, March 18, 2025, to consider, number one, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. The council will not return to public session. Can I entertain a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Sorry.
We're doing the motion for the closed session, right?
Motion to adjourn to a closed session.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn to the closed session, right? Okay. Do you have to move the motion again? Yes. Okay.
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
Right, we have to vote
I
to
think
go
we need
into
to vote
closed session.
We need to vote the current motion down and then move a motion to.
All right, so we need a motion to take it down.
You should vote against this.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I need a motion for that. Nope, all you do is take a vote, call the question. Call the question to take it down.
To motion.
We all say no, and then we.
Okay. Okay, so I'll say, all in favor say yes for motion to take it down.
No.
So the motion on the table is the motion originally offered, which is an adjournment not to a closed session. So I think we should vote no for this.
Yeah, all against it say, all in, so the motion says no, so all in favor say yes.
What?
Okay.
Nay.
Okay, either way, all opposed, yes. Any support, no. Okay, and the next motion is, Mr. Ranker, please go ahead.
Well, now I better get it right. Motion to adjourn to a closed session.
Second.
All in favor now, say yes, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So we are adjourned, but we are not coming back to the open meetings. Thank you. Get 5 minutes break.